Hello, welcome to hopefully a very small video, because I wanted to I'm in the midst of the French videos and the Dutch videos, and I wanted to point out something that the grand trine, no, not the grand trine, sorry, the trine between Uranus and Saturn that is going to develop at the very end of this year. I know it's still a bit long, but it's definitely something that I'm already seeing in my conversations and consultations with clients. It's not all the Grand Cross, of course. Now, as I speak, we're in the midst of that Grand Cross, and that is, you know, when things go a bit weird, but for a reason, and there are lots of changes going on. You know, when a person has a Grand Cross in their natal chart, it's a person who has a very dynamic life, and a lot is happening because there's so much pressure. So a lot of people think with these Grand Crosses that it's negative, but there is some changes that need to be done, and that cross is saying you've waited a bit too long, so now let's go for it. And or you might not been waiting too long. It can be very because of circumstances, because of blockages. And all of a sudden now things go forward, especially for the Sagittarians, the Geminis, the Virgos and the Pisceans. There are definitely changes going on for those who've got planets between, let's say, 6-7 degrees up until 15-16 degrees. So if you've got planets there, definitely changes in big areas of your life, which is home, work, and which is you and other people, your path in life. Now, but this, I wanted to make, so I see a lot of people who are making their big changes, but I also see now more and more people who've got planets in the fire signs, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a positive aspect for once, and I'm always talking about the difficult ones, I think. And but this is a huge one. So Saturn is going to be at around 20 degrees of Sagittarius, 21 degrees of Sagittarius. Uranus is going to be around 21 degrees of Aries at the very end of the year, so in 2016. And this trine, we call it a trine, which is energies that are going fluently and that support each other, notwithstanding the fact that these two planets are so different. I'll explain in a minute. So it goes on as from December. It's a building up towards that, but also throughout the whole 2017. So if you've got planets between, let's say, 19, 20 up until 28, 29 degrees of Sagittarius, Aries and Leo, if you've got personal planets there, there is something good for you happening. There is also big changes going on, especially when it's your sun sign, your moon sign, but it could also be your Mars, your Venus, your Mercury. There are some opportunities there, and there are newness and fresh starts that are not that hard to take, because mostly when we have changes in our lives, it means saying goodbye to something that is old. And it depends on our horoscope, of course, but a lot of us are attached to the old, and therefore a lot of people resist change. But now with this trine, these people are having actually newness in their life, freshness in their lives, in a kind of a transition time as well. So let's explain first of all Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is, of course, the structure. It's the disciplinarian. It's the working hard. It's structure. It's the old. It's like someone who's got like Saturn in the second house would like things, possessions that are antique, for instance. And when it's Uranus, you could love like modern art. That's just an example. So Saturn is old structures. It's persisting, and it's containing what is good. And Uranus is the newness. It's getting out of a rut. Uranus is about liberty, freeing you up of something. If you've got like Uranus on your sun sign or your Mars or whatever, or even Venus, the moon, you free yourself up from an older situation that was holding you back and that you didn't feel that you were alive. And so these two planets are, the one is, you could say, wants to break rules, Uranus, although it doesn't always have to be that drastic. Uranus and Saturn is the one that prefers the old. You see that? No, this is a sidewalk. I'll make that another video for that. I'll make another video of that. If you're interested in knowing a bit more about bipolar or manic depressive, that disease, I see these two are involved as well. But anyway, that's for another video. So when these two are happening at the same time, like at the end of the year, you see a lot of people that are in a transition time. Whether there is a square, whether this is an opposition of Uranus and Saturn, whether it is a trine, it doesn't matter. There is a transition of something. I remember when I had Uranus opposing my sun sign and Saturn was bang on it, so that was a Saturn-Uranus opposition actually, which is a bit the harder aspect. And the sun represents for a lot of people your work, your identity, your work. And I changed. I started there to change what I did for a living, and starting very small, but keeping the old, because at Saturn I couldn't get away from, or I couldn't, I thought I couldn't get away from that work because of, the holding on to the old, which is Saturn on the sun sign. You also have responsibilities. That's also Saturn. You just can go just like that if you've got responsibilities, or you feel that you have responsibilities. That's the Saturn. So I did the old job that I was doing, but Uranus opposing the sun, definitely I started to do writing of astrology. It was not really my thing, but I started to do something that has to do more with Uranus, which is getting out of a rut, doing new things, doing things that are more suiting for you. So in that respect, the trine now with Uranus and Saturn is a bit the same. There will be this thing, let's say it's the sun, for instance. You've got the sun at 20 degrees or 21 degrees of Sagittarius, so there is the responsibility, the Saturn there, bang on it, and you cannot run away from those responsibilities. But at the same time, it's like very smoothly with the trine. Uranus is trining your sun sign, so you're getting opportunities there to start something brand new. And so the flow is nicer. The flow is easier from, okay, putting away the old. But of course, the thing is that you've learned from that old structure, you take it with you and you put it into the new. I really like that aspect, the Saturn and the trine with Uranus. And the same for if it's your Mars, for instance. It's the way that you do things, the way that you do that you take certain actions. There is like a new project, or depending on your chart, of course, there is like new things that the way that you do things are going to be more Uranian-like, which is new, fresh, exciting, out of the ordinary, not mainstream, but not being in conflict with the old situation that you are in. And when it's the female signs, like when it's Mercury, it's about the way you think. So you probably will have more insights, more intuitive insights, which are very interesting. The way that you think is totally shifting, but it's going easy. And when it's your moon sign or your Venus sign, it's the way with the moon, it can be your home. Maybe you are you're buying a new home and you're selling the old one, and it goes all very smoothly. Because the moon is your emotional status. It's how you feel. It's how you what you need in your life, and that is going through a change as well. So it can be something that you used to feel as supportive is not longer supporting you, but you're going towards something new. The same with Venus. You know, Venus is what we love, what we like, depending on the houses it is in. Maybe it's in your 10th house of work. It could be what you've used to value changes, and but of course that would be more relationships, and that can be that there is a new relationship building itself, and where it's not always, you know, mostly it's like, it's not like in the perfect world where a relationship can stop and then a new one starts. But in this case, it can be like that. You know, mostly it's like, oh, you're in one and there is another one, and, you know, life isn't always so very perfect. But with this Uranus and Saturn, it is quite nice energy. And just wanted to say that, and just wanted to share this. So if you've got some planets there, expect at the end of the year or in 2017 to have some excitement there. An excitement that is quite stable, because Uranus is very unstable energy. And so the newness that comes into your life will be quite stable. Having said that, I wish you a very good day, and see you next time. Bye-bye.